looming cabinet reshuffle that will see President William Ruto reorganize his government amid pressure by Gen Z protesters demanding deep-rooted changes in government. On the second day of the State of the Nation debate in the Senate yesterday, senators backed the looming reshuffle as they looked to the floor to address some of the concerns raised by the youth during the anti-government demonstrations. Let's take a look.
As the nation continues to search for a solution to the issues that have been raised by the young people that took to the streets for 3 weeks in a row, the Senate, for a second time, discussed the state of the nation, calling out opulence in government at the expense of the people. The senators now want the head of state to take a second look at his cabinet and do the necessary thing, which is to dissolve it, claiming it is not serving the president well.
Expectations of the nation. It could be too early. But of course, the promises were in the next 100 days, in the next 3 months, we shall have this and that and that. Honorable Speaker, we made some confessions. We made some promises that this government will be comprised of Mamambogas, the young people, border. And it was a common phrase, not exactly for the president, for anybody. That was the talk of Kenya Kwanza. Honorable Speaker, what we have seen in return is total contrast to what the promises were. The boys that are routing today in the streets, in the campaigns, we expected them to be in positions. But in return, Honorable Speaker, we have witnessed and we have seen some recycled corrupt faces in this government.
The people who mattered were the leaders and owners of parties. Today, the true bosses are the youngsters, the Gen Zs, our brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters. Mr. Speaker, I heard the president say that he wants to set up certain committees to go around the country to find out what the youth want. But why do you ask for a job when you don't know what the people who elected you want, Mr. Speaker? And sometimes we can propose a lot of things, and yet the solutions lie here in this Constitution.
Senators further want a re-evaluation of the nation's direction, calling for responsible leadership.
2 years would have lapsed in the first term of government. It is about time for the president to be able to really look very, very deeply into whether or not political reward has really managed to help him manage the political government into delivering the result that is required. I say this because I have first-hand experience on many issues. I have examples of cabinet secretaries. I am a co-principal in Kenya Kwanza, but I have cabinet secretaries in this government that have tried to really look for, try to make phone calls to, not for personal issue, but issues affecting the public that have elected us into office to represent them.
They are protests that exposed the nation's underbelly, protests that brought about a rude awakening to the political class that the future of the nation had their eyes on their representatives.
Mr. Speaker, will not be the Gen Z. It will be us in office. It will be the wickedness in high places. It will be the principalities and powers that reside in State House, that reside in this Senate, and that reside in the National Assembly that will take us there. If we are the problem, then the Gen Zs have all legitimate rights to kick us out.
And just a reminder of that State House address by President William Ruto any moment from now. Those are live pictures from State House where President William Ruto is expected to address the nations. Many looking to find out the focus of the State House address and whether the government will use this address to announce changes in his government. A statement from State House earlier today, the State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed indicated that the president will hold the press briefing at 1 p.m. It is just about 23 minutes past the hour. And after that, engage Kenyans via X Space for a 3-hour session between 2 to 5 p.m. It remains unclear whether that X Space will still begin at 2 p.m. ahead of the impending address by President William Ruto. And this comes amidst jitters of that cabinet reshuffle. And yesterday, President William Ruto held a cabinet meeting with the members of his cabinet where he, among other things, asked them to brace for changes in his cabinet. Here's Timothy Simwa with the details of that crucial cabinet meeting yesterday.
Walking side by side, cabinet secretaries arrived for one important cabinet meeting at State House, Nairobi. It was time for men and women who ran the Kenya Kwanza administration transformation agenda to reflect after a storm that has left a dent on their performance. The cabinet was briefed on the security situation in the country, which according to official communication shared to newsrooms, is now under control. Despite widespread condemnation of security apparatus on how they handled the protesters, the cabinet was told police officers were professional in their conduct in the most difficult circumstances. The sitting, chaired by President William Ruto, was further informed opportunistic political forces and criminal gangs took advantage of the moment to wreak havoc and destruction. The government is further committing to bring those who perpetrated hooliganism and looting to book, as well as officers who might have acted outside the parameters of the law. Owing to the threat posed to Parliament, the Supreme Court and other critical government infrastructure, the Cabinet was informed that all national agencies, including the military, were deployed to forestall the breakdown of law and order. The President further says his administration must now focus on charting a new future for the country, pointing out that significant changes must be made to align with that new future. In the face of calls for reforms within his cabinet, word has it that some cabinet secretaries might be working on borrowed time. Timothy Simwa, K24 TV.
From various communities living in the cosmopolitan county of Isiolo have asked President William Ruto to act swiftly to quell tensions in the country. The leaders termed the Gen Z protest as an eye-opener for the country and for changing the country's system of governance to that which follows the constitution and not just politics.
Kwa hakika itabadilisha mtindo wa utawala katika nchi hii ambao utakuwa ni mtindo wa kufuata katiba na sio siasa peke yake. Tunajua kumekuwa na hisia hasa kwa viongozi ambao walipigia kura mswada huu. Lakini kwa sababu vile vile sisi ni watu ambao tunaogopa Mungu, ni Waislamu na Wakristo, tunataka watu wasameheane.
Afadhali Mr. President, ulifanya vizuri sana kukubali kukaa chini na vijana na kusikiliza malalamiko yao. Na hayo malalamiko ya vijana ni malalamiko ya Kenya mzima. Tafadhali rudisha hiyo bill. Na wewe spika uite bunge yako ufuate utaratibu wa katiba ili Wakenya waridhike kwamba kweli yale malalamiko ya walitoa na ile malalamiko itolewa na vijana kwa niaba ya Wakenya, wewe umetimiza ahadi yako.
Vijana yetu, sauti yenu imesikika, wale walitaka sauti yao isikike na wale walitaka sauti ya wanyonge isikike, imesikika. Sasa mambo imebadilika. Waizi wamechukua advantage. Ndio sababu maduka zinafungwa, ndio sababu magari ya watu inachomwa, ndio sababu lami inachomwa hapa na pale.
And that's all we had for you here on K24 News Cut. But a quick reminder that we're keeping an eye on that impending State House address by President William Ruto any moment from now. Those are live pictures from State House, Nairobi, as the president is expected to address the country amid speculation of a cabinet reshuffle. A statement from State House, Nairobi, says Ruto will address the country at 1 p.m. before proceeding with that 3-hour X-Space session with the youth between 2 and 5 p.m. And even though the agenda of the press briefing is not clearly spelled out, Kenyans anticipate that the president will use the opportunity to reorganize his government and, among other things, sack non-performing cabinet secretaries as well as principal secretaries and other state officers. We'll be keeping a close eye on that development and bring you those live proceedings from State House, Nairobi. Many thanks for watching this afternoon. My name is Michelle Ngele Odhiambo. This is K24 TV. Do stay tuned.